So lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News to present. My name is Jeffrey Yambo. Top stories in the news tonight. Poverty is compromising the stance of the church, claims CCMG. The F.I.C justifies delays in releasing the financial trends report. Government to employ more teachers as the UPND questions the PF's agenda. And in international news, wife of assassinated President JOVENEL MOISE speaks out. And in sports news, England takes on Italy in the Euro final.
Camnet TV offers a wide range of advertising spaces for motion adverts, preaching programs, social media advertising, studio facilities, productions, programs, and documentaries. Grow your business with us at Camnet TV. For advertising space, visit our offices at plot number 396/100, Ibex Hill, Kablonga Road. Call 0962-965-883 or 0979-753-010, or you can email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. Another news in detail. Political scientist Musiani Sichone has called on civil society organizations to take up the responsibility of educating citizens on how to become active in the political landscape, as this will help them contribute positively to the country's development. Speaking in an interview with Camnet TV News, Mr. Sichone states that it is the responsibility of civil society organizations to teach Zambians to take active roles in the political landscape. Meanwhile, Movement for Promoting National Values and Principles Chief Executive Officer Josek Kunda says there is a need for women to start supporting each other rather than criticizing and bringing each other down. We have more in this report.
Back then, a woman's role was considered to be within the home. Public life, including politics, was widely seen as for men only. It was believed that women involved in politics would neglect their responsibilities at home. Over the years, there has been progress toward the participation of women in politics, with more advocates and laws put in place to ensure equal representation. However, women's representation at national level still stands low. In March 2021, the Non-Governmental Coordinating Organization Committee in Mongo, through its coordinator Sandra Maputa, had bemoaned the low levels of women participation in politics in the country. She had cited the Zambia National Assembly statistics which showed that only 26 females were members of parliament, representing 16%. Different stakeholders are now coming on board, calling for more participation of women in politics.
Enough sensitization to actually make women embrace these decision-making roles and also actively compete in different election and different positions in the political landscape. But it is the sole responsibility of civil society organizations to teach the Zambian citizens at large, not only females but also males, to take active roles within the political landscape. And therefore, I call upon civil society organizations to not only become active in times of elections like we are having now. We call upon them to be very, very active and to teach women, okay, to become active participants in the political landscape. So not only in times like this when we have elections, we need the civil society to take up seriously what their sole responsibility is.
Meanwhile, some stakeholders feel there is need for women to build each other if the country is to witness massive participation of women in politics.
Candidates, both male and female, 50% if possible, 50% of the candidates, there's been that. However, we should mention that this hasn't been achieved. It has just remained a rhetorical program, just mere pronouncements. Very few political parties of the 16 participating in the elections have fielded enough women to feature. So mention that it's quite unfortunate because we expect that women should support their fellow women. But the trend that has been taking place in our country is totally different, because you find even in a scenario where women are adopted, very few women would vote for them. Instead, men are even able to vote for women as compared to women voting for their fellow women. Women don't seem to be supportive to their fellow women, and we hope to see change. We have a lot of organizations and institutions that are advocating for equity.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Financial Intelligence Center, F.I.C, has revealed that it will, in 2021, release a document dubbed the Typologies Report in place of the annual Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Trends Report that is released every year around May. F.I.C Director Mary Chirwa revealed this to Camnet TV News in a phone interview. Meanwhile, Republican Progressive Party RPP President Leslie Chikose has charged that it is pointless for the F.I.C and other similar institutions to continue releasing reports yearly when no action is taken against the perpetrators. We have more in this report.
Every year, citizens await the latest money laundering and terrorist financing report from the Financial Intelligence Center, F.I.C. The F.I.C, which was established in 2010, is commissioned to play an active role in fighting money laundering, financing terrorism, and other financial crimes. Its mandate is to educate the public on money laundering, among other illegal financial flows. According to the latest F.I.C Trends Report of 2019, the country is reported to have lost 450 million kwacha to money laundering and illicit financial flows by politicians and high-ranking government officials. This year, the F.I.C has reviewed that the country should expect a new document dubbed the Typologies Report in place of the annual Financial Trends Report. F.I.C Director Mary Chirwa, in a phone interview, has reviewed that once the document is shared with the Anti-Corruption Commission (ACC) and the Zambia Revenue Authority (ZRA), it will be released to the public.
This time around, we have a specific document that we are preparing for ZRA and anti-corruption. It's a management document that we share with the two institutions before we can publish it on our website. The Typologies Report.
However, President of the Republican and Progressive Party RPP Leslie Chikose says it is pointless for the F.I.C to continue releasing reports as little or no action has been done so far on previous reports.
Even in the last F.I.C report, there were a lot of irregularities in terms of financial transactions, in terms of financial mismanagement, and that up to today, the police, the Anti-Corruption Commission, and all other agencies have not been able to bring to book the perpetrators that were found wanting in the F.I.C report.
There has been ongoing debate among stakeholders that to actualize the fight against corruption, bodies like the F.I.C should be given prosecution powers as they have been seen as toothless since they cannot act on their findings. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Patriotic Front has dispelled claims that it is advancing violence in order to win the forthcoming general elections. Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chief Administrator Chendela Mukondo says contrary to their assertion, the PF wants a favorable political environment as the party in power in order to duly win the August 12 polls. Mr. Mukondo says the PF does not believe in politics of intimidation and violence, and what happened in Chawama where people were robbed by alleged suspected PF members has no blessings of the Patriotic Front. Speaking in an interview with Camnet TV News, Mr. Mukondo says those who are perpetrating violence should be treated as individuals and the police must do their work arresting the perpetrators.
Not here and there that we have employed intimidation tactics, that we have sponsored some individual to unleash terror. No, that is misinformation, and that information must be corrected. The Patriotic Front is here to work with people who love peace, because it's only through peaceful means that we are going to retain power. It's only through peaceful means that we got this power in 2011. And would want this peace to continue, especially that we have buried our late president, one gallantry leader, our founding father, one Kenneth Kaunda, who is a beacon of peace, who is a man who spoke his mind when he talked about this country being free of all sort of intimidation, of all sort of negativity. That was in 2015, and I think Bishop Mwamba re-echoed that prayer, and to us at the Patriot Front, we take such very serious. And this is the reason why one Edgar Chagwa has declared the April 28th as a day to remember the values of one gallantry leader, Kenneth Kaunda.
The Christian Churches Monitoring Group, CCMG Group, has observed that the reason why some clergymen and the church are being compromised is due to poverty. CCMG chairperson Emmanuel Chikoya says a poverty-stricken church is vulnerable and a scandal to the world. He says as the country goes to the polls, churches must not be used as campaign grounds and politicians should not be given a microphone to speak. And the Christian Churches Monitoring Group has urged the police to ensure zero tolerance to violence. Father Chikoya notes that if cadres are allowed to continue acting with impunity, it will be difficult for the country to control violence. We have more in the following report.
The country has continued to witness incidents of political violence despite various interventions to discourage the vice. The Christian Churches Monitoring Group, CCMG, has urged the police to have zero tolerance on violence. CCMG chairperson Father Emmanuel Chikoya notes that if cadres are allowed to continue acting with impunity, it will be difficult for the country to control violence. He was speaking when he featured on the Alliance for Community Action Elections Watch TV series program on Camnet TV.
If you are in the ruling party and these things are happening, every day we hear feeble condemnations. We condemn violence. We are fed up of these condemnations. Those that are given the mandate to govern this country should rise up and just say enough is enough. It is actually, you don't need to defend a lion, if I may use that analogy in the case of the police. Allow them to be police. You know, those days when the Hero Barretts came into Kanyama, they came into Chiwodia on an operation cleanup, you knew that discipline had come. And guns will be fished out. All kinds of things will be fished out. And
Father Chikoya has advised churches to stop investing their faith in politicians, but in Jesus Christ.
As clergy, let's not get excited with gifts. One of the greatest challenges that I see with the church, in many churches, you start huge church projects and yet you don't have the money. And your faith is in the politician. The faith of the church must be in Jesus Christ. We must plan over a reasonable period. We must make sure every member, regardless of how small they can give, contribute to that bigger agenda and budget. And within a certain period, you will be able to have your church. You'll be able to have that project.
It says the church must start investing to become self-reliant.
One of the greatest weaknesses that compromises the church and many of us as clergymen and women is poverty. And a poverty-stricken church is a scandal to the world and a vulnerable church. So a church must self-propagate, a church must self-govern, a church must be self-sustainable. This is an agenda that is godly. We should pray, but invest. You can invest in Airtel, you can invest in NAPSA and all other entities. It's high time we woke up as church. We have prayed enough, we have stepped on the spirit of poverty and all it's not going anywhere as long as we are remaining and we are stuck to one source of income. And so that is one of the areas I think that compromises, and at the end of the day, when you have a compromised religious sector, it can have an impact in terms of the credibility of election.
Then what is that? Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Republican Vice President Inonge Wina has disclosed that more teachers will soon be recruited in the teaching service to mitigate the challenge of shortage of teachers in most schools in rural areas of Zambia. Mrs. Wina said that the Patriotic Front administration is aware of the many challenges that teachers are going through, especially in the rural setups. She says it is against this background that the government resolved to address the teaching challenges on a permanent basis in the rural areas through the provision of more teachers. She made the remarks when she officiated at the meeting she held with the Zambia Civil Servants Association Initiative, Zakia, membership in Mwandi district of Western Province. Mrs. Wiener is on a working visit in Western Province where she is checking on the government's projects and having a series of meetings with various governance stakeholders.
We need to revisit this debt trap. Ministry of Finance will take over the responsibility that you have been shouldering to pay loans. So that there may be some little relief in your well-being. So these are some of the measures that are being taken. And we plan to, as a government, to recruit more teachers. Because we are aware that teacher training colleges have increased in the past few years. And the number of students that are being churned out of these schools, colleges, are many. So, and we are also aware that schools, especially in rural areas, have suffered greatly from lack of teachers. But government has come to a conclusion that something has to be done, meaning more teachers to be sent in rural areas.
In the meantime, the opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, has warned teachers across the country against listening to Vice President Inonge Wina, who is suggesting the government to negotiate a debt swap with financial lending institutions they owe money to. UPND National Chairman Stephen Katuka believes the move is the PF campaign gimmick that comes when the country is approaching elections. He says the indebtedness facing many public service workers in particular and Zambians in general is due to the PF's mismanagement of the country's economy. Mr. Katuka has urged teachers, nurses, doctors, engineers and other public service workers not to be excited with such fake promises as they are only intended to woo support for the August general elections. He says public service workers deserve decent salaries and other emoluments to enable them to afford their basic needs.
With the disappointment, another don't whoever tricked by the PF, this time around involving a debt swap for civil servants, which they have announced, and we believe that this is another don't whoever. PF has failed to pay the debt they owe the international community. Even the local lenders, they have failed to pay. And now they are talking of a debt swap for civil servants. And strangely, the only civil servants they are talking about now are teachers. Teachers are all engaged in the election as returning officers. So it is clear that the intention is to windhook the teachers with this debt swap so that they can do what they want them to do for them in the coming elections. So I don't believe it's a genuine debt swap. It is just the usual don't care by the PF, another similar more money in their pocket. This is what I can foresee. And we wish to warn those civil servants that they should not take this as a serious thing.
Zambians United for Sustainable Development ZUSD presidential candidate Lazarus Chisela has told Camnet News that his party would invest in the agricultural sector in view of making Zambia become a food basket in the region. Mr. Chisela says that his party will make people form cooperatives and will mechanize the agriculture sector and curb dependence on handholds that do not support high productivity. He says agriculture has the potential to end Zambia's social and economic problems.
Under the GSP, it will not be cultivating maize everywhere. It will not be cultivating groundnuts everywhere. The Zambian government will go back to its roots. We'll get all those educated doctors in agriculture to tell us how we can do agriculture, what type of crops. Do we need fertilizer? What do we need for a particular crop to grow? That's what we do. We are not going to use common sense. We have been using common sense for 56 years now, and we have not achieved anything. We have a lot of educated Zambians who are working for research centers as agriculture experts. We will decentralize them. We will send them in these cooperatives.
Now, residents of Mafinga district of Muchinga province have appealed to the government to find a sustainable solution to non-availability of fuel stations in the area. In an interview, some of the motorists say they depend on the black market fuel, which ends up damaging their engines, adding that the fuel is procured from Isoka district. Meanwhile, they have also stated that government must consider constructing roads as there are no roads in the area. We have more in this report. The National Water Supply and Sanitation Council, NWASCO, says it is making progress in the implementation of extra mandates by water utility companies of providing sanitation services to consumers. In order to ensure sanity in the sanitation service chain, the government, through NWASCO, revised license conditions for commercial utilities and expanded their mandate to include on-site sanitation and fecal sludge management as part of their service provision. According to the 2020 NWASCO sector report, in terms of sanitation coverage, Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company is doing better at 75%, only behind Nkana, which is at 80%, Molonga at 83%, and Southern Water and Sanitation Company at 85%. NWASCO Chief Inspector Peter Mtale says the Sanitation Council will continue providing capacity building to water utility companies in order to ensure inclusive access to sanitation in the country. Details in this report.
Access to sanitation has for a long time been a challenge for most households in Zambia. The majority population uses on-site sanitation systems that are unsafe and do not guarantee any level of treatment. Further, emptying services for such facilities remained unregulated, and the vacuum created left room for illegal pit emptiers to indiscriminately empty and dispose of the waste into the open environment. However, in order to ensure sanity in the sanitation service chain, the government, through the National Water Supply and Sanitation Council, revised license conditions for commercial utilities and expanded their mandate to include on-site sanitation and fecal sludge management as part of their service provision.
Rural areas. So there are two frameworks. So one to do with the on-site sanitation, the other one to do with the rural water supply and sanitation. So from 2018 December, actually, our council, our board approved the amendment to the licenses for commercial utilities so that they include on-site sanitation. And we directed actually all the commercial utilities that by July 2019, you should change your names from water and sewage companies to water and sanitation companies. I hope you have seen that all of them now have changed the names. So the names have changed because we are no longer just dealing with now sewage services, but also dealing with on-site sanitation.
Mr. Mutale is happy that some utilities are making progress in addressing sanitation.
Some commercial utilities like Lusaka Water and Sewage Sanitation Company now, they have actually advanced because the new framework now says that only commercial utilities will provide both sewage services and on-site sanitation facilities. So whoever wants to provide those services will provide them through the commercial utilities. So they have to sign performance contracts. So as we speak right now, starting with those empty pit machines, Lusaka Water has signed that performance contract with them, and they're already on the ground. So across the country, this is now the requirement.
I spoke to Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company Managing Director Jonathan Kampata to understand how the firm is embracing the new mandate.
We're taking a citywide approach. This is what we call C-wise. By citywide approach, we mean that we continue to invest in sewers, but where we're not able to invest in sewers, we invest in what we call the on-site sanitation. And already we've started this project with the household toilets we're doing in Kanyama, Shawama, and George Township. These areas were prioritized due to a high risk to cholera.
The firm recently handed over 5 light trucks to pit emptying service providers in a quest to provide quality self-sanitation services for all in the city of Lusaka. George Services Limited was among companies that benefited.
The major challenge that has been there is the issue of transport. Now that the transport has been supplemented, we'll be able to carry as much sludge as possible from the pits so that we keep our communities clean and healthy.
Such interventions remains key in achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which seeks to ensure safe drinking water and sanitation for all. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Residents of Mafinga district of Muchinga province have appealed to the government to find a sustainable solution to non-availability of fuel stations in the area. In an interview, some of the motorists say they depend on the black market fuel, which ends up damaging their engines, adding that the fuel is procured from Isoka district. Meanwhile, they have also stated that government must consider constructing roads as there are no roads in the area. You have more in this report.
With the creation of this new district in 2011, this area of Mafinga district still remains undeveloped despite the efforts by government to bring infrastructure development to the area. The residents are now calling on government to bring more infrastructure development, such as the construction of roads in the area.
So na iboma ya Zambia hii mwana iganizira si ganiza pano wandu wamangala 1 week wena so track ili hapo hiyo so boma isape konzeru ino road is very busy hii ndazi chama so hii road si mushe na mpamonyo inendele mefyo smare na jomba yesterday pano lingana na road nyoyi pamaningi oti baboma funika bapake konzeru apaka imanje twenda kuma elections manje zavota bwanje ngati road imene ili yoipa so kuchita ufloat katundu yose apa track kuti kuita unoni dosa futi.
Appeal to the government to consider working on Lundazi, Chama and Mafinga road because it is almost impassable in most places, making movements to and from these areas risk to human lives and damages to vehicles and other motorized transport.
The district has no fuel station, forcing motorists to depend on the black market fuel.
The district has no filling stations, so this is the only source where they get their fuel, but through vending.
An appeal for the government to find a sustainable solution to address the issue of fuel in the district has also been made.
To appeal to the government to consider finding a sustainable solution to non-availability of fuel filling station in Mafinga district of Muchinga province. Motorists depend on the black market fuels, which end up damaging the engines, and the fuel is being ordered from Isoka district, which the cost is very expensive. It fetches between 100 kwacha to 150 per 2.5 liters.
Shortage ya fuel, but road Zumbe unaingia Jomene so kupoti watu wonego tona kwenye road ya Zumbe patara kupata so karawatu sikajibele ambulance utulea kuenda so kupoti kubatikana kupa road ya Zumbe.
Mafinga district of Muchinga province was created in 2011 February by late President Michael Sata. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news.
Good day to you, our dear esteemed customers. As AMTEL, we're glad to bring something of excitement to you, and it's a promotion we've dubbed Yatu, which simply means it's yours. And in this promotion, we're giving benefits that are tailored to you specifically as a customer, depending on the profile or the segment that you're sitting on as a customer. And in this promotion, we are saying you will get from as low as 13 way benefits amounting to over 500%. And it's all for you so that you get more benefits. So to know more about Yatu, stay on.
Yatu is a promotion that offers AMTEL customers amazing benefits that are made just for you. AMTEL customers will get amazing benefits of over 500% bonus back the value that they use when they subscribe to a Yatu offer. YATO benefits will be usable for Zamtel to Zamtel calls, Zamtel to Zamtel SMSs, and browsing on pay-as-you-go defined rates. For you to access the amazing YATO offers, all you have to do is dial *335# and select option 1 to purchase the offer that best suits you. Zamtel customers will have the ability to actually purchase the YATO benefit more than once. So this means you can purchase the offer twice, you can purchase the offer 3 times, and the benefits will be accumulative at the end of the day. YATO benefits will be able to be redeemed if you subscribe to the same offer within a 5-day period. So if you have unused benefits from the previous day and the expiry date comes, you can still subscribe to the same offer within 5 days and your benefits will be able to accumulate. How amazing is that? For you to check your YATO benefit balance, all you have to do is dial *335# and select option 2 and you'll be able to see your current balance.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Lungu and the Patriotic Front have transformed the transportation sector by facilitating the construction of bus stations around the country. Vote for Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
Camnet TV offers a wide range of advertising spaces for motion adverts, preaching programs, social media advertising, studio facilities, productions, programs, and documentaries. Grow your business with us at Camnet TV. For advertising space, visit our offices at plot number 396/100, Ibex Hill, Kablonga Road. Call 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can email us at info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. As Zambia today joins the rest of the African continent in commemorating the annual African Anti-Corruption Day, Transparency International Zambia is concerned that the country's fight against corruption remains below par. This year's commemoration marks the 5th time that the African Anti-Corruption Day is being celebrated ever since it was proclaimed by the African Union in 2016. The theme for this year's African Anti-Corruption Day is Regional Economic Communities, Critical Actors in the Implementation of the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption. The TIZ Executive Director says despite Zambia signing the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, more still needs to be done to combat graft. Maurice Nyambe is happy that Zambia already enacted basic pieces of legislation such as the Anti-Corruption Act, the Public Interest Disclosure Act, the Prohibition of Money Laundering Act, and the Public Finance Management Act, among others. He, however, notes that despite putting in place progressive legislations, the overall fight against corruption in Zambia is deteriorating, as seen by the country's worsening score on the Corruption Perception Index.
Now, this year's commemoration marks the 5th time that the African Anti-Corruption Day is being celebrated ever since it was proclaimed by the African Union in 2016. And as TIZ, we are cognizant of the importance of keeping this day on the agenda of respective African governments' governance practices in order to keep the discourse on corruption ongoing. Now, the theme for this year's Africa Anti-Corruption Day is Regional Economic Communities, Critical Actors in the Implementation of the African Union Convention on Prevention and Combating Corruption. Now, as TIZ, we would like to use this theme to reflect more on how Zambia has fared in implementing the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, AUCPCC. Now, it is worth noting that Zambia signed the AUCPCC on 3rd August 2003 and ratified it on 30th March 2007.
Principal nutritionist at the National Food and Nutrition Commission, Ida Chama, has called on HIV-positive lactating mothers to follow the guidelines on HIV prevention from mother to child. In an interview with Camnet News, Ms. Chama explains that following various interventions, it has become possible for an HIV-positive woman to have a child who is born without the virus. We have more in the following report.
According to UNAIDS, an estimated 1.5 million individuals worldwide acquired HIV in 2020, marking a 30% decline in new HIV and AIDS infections since 2010. In 2020, 84% of pregnant women tested positive with HIV and are receiving ART to prevent transmitting HIV to their children during pregnancy, childbirth, and to protect their own health. This has prompted Principal Nutritionist at the National Food and Nutrition Commission, Ida Chama, to call on HIV and AIDS lactating mothers to emulate the medical guidelines regarding infants born when their parents have tested positive.
For the recommendation for the feeding of the children who are exposed to HIV, what we are saying that every child, regardless whether they are HIV positive or they are exposed to HIV, born from mothers who are HIV positive, they are supposed to be initiated early within the first hour of birth to the breast. And thereafter they should continue exclusive breastfeeding that child up to the age of 6 months.
Ms. Chama has also stated that parents should be able to provide diet suitable for the child regardless of their status.
Once when the child attains the age of 6, you introduce the complementary foods, and these complementary foods should go all the way. You continue breastfeeding as well as giving the other foods up to 1 year, that is 12 months. So at 12 months, that's where now, as a parent, a caregiver, and a mother, we need to decide whether we are going to continue breastfeeding or not.
Despite these challenges, there has been successes and promising signs. New global efforts have been mounted to address the epidemic, particularly in the last decade. Blessings Shakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Ministry of Health has revealed that the country is commodity secure when it comes to personal protective equipment to cater for the needs of the medical personnel on the front lines fighting the COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. Speaking during a tour of the Zambia Medical Supplies Agency in Lusaka, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Technical Services Dr. Kennedy Malama says government remains committed to safeguarding healthcare workers. Dr. Malama has therefore called on senior medical personnel responsible for the stocking of health equipment to work closely with SAMSA and ensure that it reaches the intended beneficiaries. We have details in the following report.
The Minister of Health on the 11th of July 2021 toured the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency ZAMSA to ascertain the availability of personal protective equipment among many other things. After the tour, it was established that there is more than enough personal protective equipment to cater for health workers countrywide. Ministry of Health, through its Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Dr. Kennedy Malama, says the country is not in any crisis to warrant health workers to begin asking members of the public to buy them personal protective equipment in order for them to be attended to, adding that the country is commodity secure.
Indeed, we've seen what is on the ground. Zambia is commodity secure in terms of personal protective equipment, and the government will continue investing in this critical pillar to ensure that our healthcare workers are well protected. Today, we are not in a crisis for someone to go out to the members of the public and start asking for money to buy PPEs.
It was further established that most health workers prefer certain brands, hence not using other available brands and therefore making it seem like personal protective equipment are unavailable. He advised health workers not to go for brands but rather for what is effective.
in the medical practice, we don't stick to brands. You need to ensure you use commodities which are effective and they can protect and prevent infection transmission in a healthcare worker. And the government to continue building on that. For us, we need to ensure that whatever we procure is speaking to the needs on the ground.
The Permanent Secretary further attributed the non-availability of some personal protective equipment at some health facilities to logistical constraints, further advising those responsible to ensure that all health facilities are fully stocked.
We ensure whatever is here is offloaded. So hospitals who may be lacking one or two items for reasons which are attributed mainly to logistical management, those needs to be addressed. And we assure health workers that this will continue to be our priority, ensuring that they are protected and they work in an environment which is acceptable. To the managing director, let's ensure that we push these commodities to the front line. But we are also aware, even as we offload these commodities on an ongoing basis, we expect prudence in their utilization.
Personal protective equipment include face masks, gloves, fluid-resistant gowns, among many other things. Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga, Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has continued to carry out legal enforcement in efforts to curb further transmission of COVID-19. Among the premises inspected include schools, churches, malls, bars and nightclubs, of which in the last 24 hours a total of 1,778 premises were inspected, of which 283 were closed, 153 were served with notices of improvement. Minister of Health Permanent Secretary Technical Services Dr. Kennedy Malama says the overall compliance rate was 75%, further adding that actions to be taken against those found not in compliance include court summons and revocation of licenses and penalties. Dr. Malama has since called on members of the public to frown upon those who continue flouting the directives with impunity. He added that in the last 24 hours, the country recorded 940 new confirmed COVID-19 cases out of 5,166 tests conducted, bringing the cumulative number of confirmed cases recorded to date to 175,729 and 47 new COVID-19 related deaths. You're watching Camnet TV News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with more news.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Kumbula International Airport, located just 15 kilometers from the Victoria Falls, is now one of the best and busiest airports that Zambia has. Vote for Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
Camnet TV offers a wide range of advertising spaces for motion adverts, preaching programs, social media advertising, studio facilities, productions, programs, and documentaries. Grow your business with us at Camnet TV. For advertising space, visit our offices at plot number 396/100, Ibex Hill, Kablonga Road. Call 0962-965-883 or 0979-753-010, or you can email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, no just another channel.
Welcome back, and in international news, a new 5-year term has been secured for Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed as per results Saturday of a landslide victory in the landmark and twice delayed parliamentary vote where the country's ruling Prosperity Party won 410 seats out of the 436. The figures showed opposition parties and independent candidates won a small number of seats. The results were relayed by the National Election Board of Ethiopia, NEBE, which said there would be a rerun in 10 constituencies. And Martine Moise, the wife of assassinated Haitian President Jovenel Moise, says in Creole in an audio message that she is alive thanks to God. Meanwhile, Haiti's Minister of Culture and Communications, Pradel Henriquez, confirmed to the AFP news agency that the audio was authentic. Haiti's interim government has asked the United States to send troops, but the Biden administration has said it has no immediate plans to send in the military. It would, however, deploy FBI and Homeland Security agents to help with the investigation. Here's a roundup of international news.
A new 5-year term for Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed as per results Saturday of a landslide victory in a landmark and twice delayed parliamentary vote, where the country's ruling Prosperity Party won 410 seats out of 436, as relayed by the National Election Board of Ethiopia. Given the turmoil of peace in some areas, the complexity in the politics, the consequences of COVID-19 pandemic, and also the situation in the northern part Tigray region, even the geographical vastness and the population of our country show how huge the work was. Therefore, the board has been operating in these difficult situations. Although the state-affiliated Ethiopian Human Rights Commission observed no serious or widespread human rights violations at election stations, voting occurred in around 1/5 of the country's 547 constituencies due to ethnic violence or logistical issues. A second batch of polling is set for September 6th for the remainder. However, there is no poll date for 8-month war-torn Tigray. Rwanda sent members of its defense forces and officers from its national police to northern Mozambique on Saturday in response to a request of support in the gas-rich nation's battle against growing Islamist extremist insurgency, which has claimed over 2,000 lives and displaced 700,000 people.
Yes, the purpose of this mission, first of all, is based on a request by the government of Mozambique to the government of Rwanda to help support in conducting military operations, including security operations and stabilization, as well as security sector reform.
Rwanda has promised 1,000 troops who will be joined by a $12 million deployment standby force mission from the 16-nation Southern African Development Community, which is to begin on July 15th for at least 3 months.
The operation is not time specific, it's mission specific. So we will complete our job first and then determine when to leave.
SADC military experts recommend that 3,000 soldiers with arms, helicopters, airplanes, and naval capacity be sent to Cabo Delgado province, where the insurgency that erupted in 2017 is growing.
A sign of how scared people in Haiti are. a false rumor spread on social media that the U.S. was giving out visas. A massive crowd showed up at the embassy, only to be disappointed.
Faced with this reality, the Haitian people are left to themselves. They cannot go out. They want to go to safe places. When people heard the rumors saying that the U.S. Embassy is giving exile to the people, they came.
Haitian officials have asked the U.S. for more than that, a contingent of U.S. troops to help secure the country.
We're not asking for the occupation of the country. We're asking for small troops to assist and help us.
U.S. media reports the troops will not be deployed. Instead, they will send law enforcement to help with the investigation into the assassination of JOVENEL MOISE. His widow, also injured in the shooting, sent this message on social media.
You knew who the president was fighting against. These people hired mercenaries to kill the president and his family due to the projects for roads, electricity, drinking water supply, organization of the referendum and elections, for the final abolition of political transitions. The president has always believed in institutions and stability.
It's not clear who paid for the mercenaries who allegedly carried out the attack, many of them former members of the Colombian military. But while that investigation continues, so does the political uncertainty. The interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph says he's in charge, but he was set to be replaced before the killing by Ariel Henry, who now, along with politician Joseph Lambert, says they will take over. Lambert tweeted that his Saturday inauguration was postponed. There is a behind-the-scenes push in the country and in Washington to figure out the way forward. But so far, there is no clear solution for a poverty-ravaged country battered by gang violence, the coronavirus, and now political infighting. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
We now have sports news. In sports news, England are one win away from their first major trophy since 1966, but standing in the way of the Three Lions and European glory is a revitalized and vibrant Italy. While Gareth Southgate's side enjoyed a successful run in the 2018 World Cup, narrowly losing to Croatia in the semi-finals, this is Italy's first appearance in the major tournament since the 2016 European Championship. The World Cup in Russia was the first time Italy had not qualified for a major tournament in 60 years. But since Roberto Mancini took over in 2018, they have gone 33 matches unbeaten and are in the 2020 Euro final.
24 teams, 11 host cities, 30 days, 50 matches. And it all comes down to Sunday. It's Italy versus England in the finals of Euro 2020. Under Roberto Mancini's management, this Italian team are simply flying, having not lost in 33 competitive games. In Ciro Immobile, Lorenzo Insigne and Federico Chiesa, their attack is as potent as any. Just behind, the midfield of Jorginho and Marco Verratti effortlessly dictate play, while the experienced heads of Leonardo Bonucci and Giorgio Chiellini remain imperious at the back. The Azzurri have also beaten England every time they've faced off in a major tournament. However, they won't be taking anything for granted.
If you don't put all your heart in it, you can't win a final in Wembley against England. We have to be carefree and a bit crazy. These are the ingredients that allowed us to get to this point and that can help us win this trophy.
While confident, many Italian fans here say they'll accept any outcome should the best team win.
If we lose, we stay at home, eat some pasta, and if we win, we go out to celebrate. Let's hope Italy does it for us.
For the Three Lions, history beckons at Wembley. It's been 55 years since Queen Elizabeth handed the World Cup trophy to then-captain Bobby Moore. No English team has made it to the final of a major tournament since. But with Harry Kane leading the line, Raheem Sterling firing on all cylinders, and a rigid defence led by Harry Maguire and John Stones, fans believe that destiny may finally be on their side.
We've got a massive advantage with it being in Wembley. There's going to be mostly England fans there.
If there's a time, this is it.
Having knocked out the likes of Germany and Denmark en route to the final, manager Gareth Southgate says his charges are ready for one final push to bring football home at last.
It's a brilliant game to be involved in. It's a brilliant game to prepare for because we're playing a high-level opponent and we're in a final and we're here to win.
With everything on the line, Both teams will be looking to write their names into footballing folklore. But at the end, only one can be crowned the rightful champion of Europe.
That story brings us to the end of the news, but we'll take a look at the top stories once again. Poverty is compromising the stance of the church, claims CCMG. The F.I.C justifies delays in releasing the financial trends report. Government to employ more teachers as the UPND questions the PF's agenda. And in international news, wife of assassinated President JOVENEL MOISE speaks out. And in sports news, England takes on Italy in the Euro final. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from the book of Mark 9, verse 22 to 23, and it reads, "And many times it has thrown him into fire or water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." Then Jesus said to him, "If you can, everything is possible to the one who believes." Thanks for watching Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.